Welcome to lesson number 3. In this lesson, we'll be painting a starry sky overlooking a rocky desert terrain. Please make sure you've watched the lesson 3 warm-up so that you're familiar with the reference material required for this lesson. Here's the lesson 3 example painting, which we'll be using as a guide. This painting will use several image hose nozzles. The shrubs, for instance, are an image hose nozzle, as is some of the rock and dirt texture. A few of the stars were made using the stars nozzle, but most were done with the pepper spray brush. I'll let you decide what objects to include in your painting. I've already loaded this image into the reference image palette, so let's go ahead and get started. Let's create a new canvas. We'll go to File and New, and we'll use a resolution of 150 and a width of 14 and a height of 11. And then we'll create a new layer for a sketch. We'll make it a multiply composite method. We'll pick a dark gray color and the detail oils brush. And we'll go ahead and start sketching in our basic sketch here. So this gets a little tricky. We might want to use some different colors so we can help visualize all these layers since they're going to be stacked very close to each other. So first of all, we'll draw the horizon. It's going to be kind of the just general eye level of the painting. And then we'll switch to blue, and there's going to be some distant hills that are kind of behind that. In the distance, we'll switch to green, and then in the foreground there's going to be some varied terrain that kind of goes down below the horizon line and then comes back up above it slightly. And then we'll switch to purple, and midway in between that there's going to be this kind of plateau shape in the distance. Now this might be a little confusing at first, but we'll break all this down into layers. We'll switch to another lighter blue, and behind the distant hills there might be some more little hills that kind of peek up that are further away. We'll switch to orange, and there will be some patches where there's some different kinds of clay or some other kind of dirt that sticks up here. So I'm just going to sketch in all of this, and we will switch to a magenta fuchsia color like this, and we'll put in some indications of bushes. Now, we don't have to keep all these objects in this exact place, but this just gives us an idea of roughly what we're going to want in our composition. I'm going to have these bushes go in the gaps between the clay. And then the sky we don't really need to worry about too much, but we could go ahead and select blue and kind of give an overall indication of where the main light's going to be in this painting. And there we go, we have a sketch that we can work with. Let's reduce the opacity on this sketch layer just a little bit so that we can see behind it. And we'll create a new layer underneath for the horizon. It's good to figure out where the horizon is first in most landscape paintings because it's a very important component of the landscape. It defines where your eye level is. It'll help you place everything else around it. Things that are much taller than you will be far above the horizon line, like this plateau, and things that are shorter than you or shorter than the eye level of the observer in the painting will be far below the horizon line. So we'll go ahead and just put in a gray color using the rectangular selection tool, and we'll fill it, and we'll do Control D to deselect. Now we'll create the land that's in the foreground, so we will call this land foreground. We'll pick a darker gray, and we'll use the scratchboard tool just to draw this in, following our guide roughly. And we'll go ahead and fill in all the way down to the bottom here with a bigger brush. And like I mentioned earlier, it going above and then below and above the horizon line gives it a sense of elevation, like there's a couple hills here and then it dips down in the middle. Let's add a layer that's underneath the horizon, and we will call it Hills 1. So that'll be the front hills. We'll use a light gray Same scratchboard tool. And we'll put in these distant hills here. You don't have to follow your sketch exactly. You can just kind of do whatever you want. We'll create another layer below that. We'll call that Hills 2, even lighter gray. And there's even more distant hills back there. You can do as many layers of these as you want. I wouldn't do too many though. Probably just a few. Let's create a layer that is above the horizon layer. And we'll call this Hill Mid. This will be the middle plateau here. Pick a dark gray color. We'll put that in. You want it to look kind of angular, so it looks like a desert rock formation. And now we have our basic land layers. Let's go ahead and add a layer to the bottom for the sky. And we will go ahead and fill that with a dark gray. And then we don't need the sketch layer for a while here, so we're going to just hide it. And we'll zoom out a little bit. And we can start working on shading the sky here. So we'll switch to the digital airbrush. We'll go to the sky layer. And we will go ahead and start lightening the horizon. So we'll pick a light gray like this, and we want there to be kind of an arcing gradient going on here. So we'll do something like that. I want it to be pretty bright near the horizon here, because this is going to be a dark night piece, and we want it to have the impression of being like a photograph that was taken with a long exposure. So most of the light would be kind of right around here. And we'll also be doing a glaze over it, so it's better that it's too light rather than too dark overall. I think something like that will work. I'll switch to white. I'll put just a little white right on the horizon there. And then we'll switch to the diffuse blur, and we want to remove some of these brush strokes here. So I'm going to do kind of firm pressure swirling strokes, like if I was, scrubbing something off of a surface with a sponge or a rag, just really scrubbing it here. What that's going to do is that's going to break up all of those brush strokes. It's going to evenly blend this color together. Now if you wanted to, you could make this kind of a more cloudy sky, but I recommend that if you do, you put the clouds lower on the horizon, because if you put them up in the sky, they're going to get in the way of the stars, and that's going to make it hard to see the stars. So we want it to be a nice clear sky towards the top. If you wanted to, put a couple little clouds here towards the bottom. Otherwise, keep your sky nice and smooth like this so it looks clear. Now let's add a glazing of color to the sky. We'll add a new layer above the sky, and we'll call it Sky Color. We'll make it a multiply composite method, and we'll go ahead and fill it with a normal daylight blue color, something like this. Go to fill. I think that looks pretty good. And then we will use the digital airbrush to paint in some lighter and darker colors. So we can go kind of indigo towards the top here. And towards the bottom, we can shift it more towards cyan. So just like you're painting a daylight sky pretty much, we'll put a little bit of cream down towards the horizon here. Could even use a little bit of, a little tiny touch of pink, just to give it some flavor. Over in the corners here. And we'll go a little bit of more orange, yellow cream, just a dab. And then we'll do some light cream there on the horizon. I think that looks pretty good. Now, if your sky is too light or too dark, you can always go back to this sky layer and you can use a lighter or a darker gray. For instance, I could use this lighter gray with the airbrush, and I can bring in more light and the color stays there. So that's kind of the cool thing about this non-linear workflow. But I'm going to keep it how it was because I think that looked pretty good. Now let's add some color to these land layers. So we'll start with the most distant hill first. We'll select the Hills 2 layer. We'll turn on Preserve Transparency. And we'll use the scratchboard tool, and we'll sample a blue-gray from the sky here. Let's try this one, and see, that's a little too dark. Let's try that one there. We'll go to the hills one layer, take one of the darker ones, we'll put that in, and we will go to the horizon layer, and we'll take an even darker, we'll put that in. Now to separate these from one another, we'll want to add a little area of mist at the bottom, so I'm going to sample one of these kind of blue-gray colors that's transitioning into that cream color. I'm going to use the digital airbrush, and I'm going to paint along the bottom edge of the horizon layer. I'm going to go to the hills layer, and I'm going to do the same thing. Just needs to be subtle. It doesn't need to stand out too much, but it'll really separate these planes from one another. I'm going to go to the hills 2 layer, sample the lightest cream color. I'm going to add that in there. Now that really gives them all some distance. You could also darken them to kind of give them a vignette if you wanted to. Like here I can darken the sides of the hills. Also kind of gives them some distance. We could do the same thing to the horizon. Let's do these foreground formations of land in a kind of brownish color. Since they're closer, we'll be able to see more of the color. We want the value to be a little bit darker than the value from the horizon, since the rocks are going to be closer to the foreground. So if it helps, you can sample this darkest color and then just make sure that the brown you pick is darker than that. Let's try something like this here. We'll use the scratchboard tool to fill it in. I think that will work. And we will go to the land foreground layer, and we'll make it even darker in value. And we'll fill that in. So now we have all of our basic color, and we can start adding shading and texture next. There's a variety of ways to add texture, and usually we use the sponge and the square chalk along with the paper textures for that, but we can also accomplish texture using the image hose nozzles. So I'm going to look in the image hose nozzles library for a category called Painterly, and within there is a brush called Break Thick, and this is a brush that I made. I wanted it to look like paint that would come off of a palette knife, so it kind of has thick edges, and when you paint with it, it looks really interesting. It has an impasto effect. So it works best with the Paint Break preset image hose, and you will of course want to change your additional secondary color here, so click on that, and then this defines which color you'll be painting with. So we'll go ahead and sample this brown color and maybe make it a bit lighter, and we'll try a test stroke with it and see what we get. So you can see when you paint, you get this nice thick texture. I think we want it to be a bit darker, so I'm going to darken it just a little bit. It has a habit of showing up lighter because it's tinting a lighter version of the paint, which is kind of this medium gray color. I made all of these paints this medium gray color because the gray blends better with the tinting that you add. So I'm just going back and forth and just filling this in, and this is kind of making it look like instant dirt, more or less. We can change the hue a little bit and make it a slightly different color and put in a couple areas of different mud and dirt. And I didn't mention this while I was painting, but it's important to follow the contour of the land when you're painting with this dirt, because it creates a contour as you're painting with it. So I followed the up and down motion of this land here as I was putting these strokes down. Let's go ahead and further establish a sense of contour and form by adding some darker areas. So let's make a selection of the land foreground by doing select layer content. Let's create a new layer, and we will call it land tint. We'll set the composite method to multiply. We'll turn off preserve transparency, and we will hide the marquee. We will go to digital airbrush, and we'll select one of these blues from the sky, something like this. We'll have to switch back to our main color because we're still on additional color. Have to watch out for that. It's a little tricky. So we'll take that blue there. And what we want to do is we want to vignette the bottom and the sides of this dirt. And what this is going to do is it's going to, for one, put it in shadow and make it look a little more natural. And two, it's going to give it a little bit of blue flavor, which is going to help it fit into the sky a little bit better. If you have hills and things, you can kind of add some shadow to the side where the hill is. You could even put in little ridges and bumps with a smaller brush if you wanted to give it more of a sense of contour. Overall though, you want to try to keep the center area pretty bright. And then we can add one more layer here for land texture. We'll make that a multiply composite method as well. And then here we will use a layer of sponge, and we'll use this same dark blue color here, just a little bit darker. We'll put in some sponge. I'm going to go horizontally across, and then I'm going to make my brush bigger, and I'm going to go across underneath that, and that will give a sense of distance in the texture. And then we can turn down the opacity of that just a little bit so it's a more subtle blend. Now we have some pretty good looking dirt. Let's deselect our active selection by doing Control D.